would like to hear what's happening.
Okay.
So, yeah, recording it's a great idea.
Okay, I'm putting you on mute now.
Well, we just want to welcome everyone to our housing resource panel today. We are excited for you to be here today at our hangout. If you can put your name and your organization on the chat, that would be great. We have a full agenda today, so we want to get right to it as I pass it over to Carlos. Oh, and if you have, if you have any announcements or anything, we're going to be doing them towards the end once we go through the agenda. All right, sorry, Carlos.
No worries. Yes, thank you so much, Erica. Welcome to our HINT Housing Resource Panel. We are the Hispanic Interagency Networking Team. And you can check out our agenda. Like Erica said, it is pretty full. Just a reminder to please keep yourself muted unless you're a presenter or asking a question. And feel free to drop a question in the chat. I'm going to let panelists decide if they want to answer their questions during their presentation, after their presentation, or during the Q&A section of the agenda. That's totally up to them. Also, if you'd like to join our HINT mailing list, that's a great way to keep connected. You can drop your email in the chat or private message me if you'd rather it not be announced. It sounds like we will be recording. Yeah, so if you would prefer not to be on camera, it's totally fine if you keep your video off. We want to respect everyone's, respect everyone's preferences. Let's see. And thank you so much to everyone for joining. I understand that this is a little longer than our usual meetings because we have so many great speakers. So if you have to hop off early, that's totally fine. Yeah, just enjoy the presentations and thank you to our lovely panelists. Cool. Okay, well, let's start recording and I'm gonna pass it off to Eric from Clackamas County Coordinated Housing Access.
All right, thank you, Carlos. I'm gonna try and share my screen here, or maybe you might have to pull up the PowerPoint through your side. Did he email that to you?
Okay.
You should be able to share, Eric.
I should be able to share? Okay. Let's see. Sweet. You can all see my screen, I hope. Yes. Okay, yeah. Sweet. I can't see myself at all or the Zoom call, so I can only see the slides. So I'm just going to go off of that. Hi, everyone. My name is Eric. He, him. I work with Coordinated Housing Access with Clackamas County Social Services. Lauren is also here, who is my supervisor. Lauren, if you want to say hi really quickly.
Hey, everybody. I'm Lauren. I am the CHA supervisor. I work for Clackamas County Social Services, and I'm really happy to be here.
All right. So we just have a little short PowerPoint for you. So first thing, what is CHA? CHA, you probably hear it as either Coordinated Housing Access or CHA. CHA essentially is just the abbreviation for Coordinated Housing Access. We are the entry system for housing assistance in Clackamas County. So we do a variety of things. We connect people to prevention, diversion programs, whether that's rental assistance, you know, or in mediation, which we'll learn about. You know, we do CHA assessments, which maybe you've heard of or haven't heard of, but these assessments are essentially the first step in getting somebody housed in Clackamas County. We do screenings with people and can put them if they're eligible on a variety of wait lists, whether that's permanent supportive housing programs, rapid rehousing programs, shelters, interim housing, different things like that. So that is what coordinated housing access as a whole. We are a team of 5, now 6. We did just hire a program planner who is here with us today. But we have, we're a little bit bigger than that. We do have temporary staff that are working on a backlog of calls. So sure, you know, we get a lot of calls, and we have people, we have our 4 staff members working on current calls. So people are hearing back within like a week or so. And then we have temporary staff working on a backlog of calls from like December and January. So how does our system work? So essentially, this is our highway to housing map. So our goal is to get people off the highway as soon as possible. First step on the highway, you know, is calling the coordinated housing access line. The number is listed there, 503-655-8575. This goes both English and Spanish. And, you know, people from that number, so we do have staff members taking live calls Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But if they are not, you know, if they are a youth or if they are potentially fleeing domestic violence, they can get routed to different services. So first things first is calling that coordinated housing access line. Most people, you'll either, you know, if they're lucky enough to get us in the office, they'll hear, you know, we'll pick up that phone right away. If not, people will have to leave a voicemail. We do have a separate Spanish voicemail. So always let people know that they can give us a call and leave a voicemail if we don't answer them. Let them know to leave their name and phone number, usually because, you know, a lot can be missed through voicemails and putting stuff on our call log. So that's the first thing, giving us a call. There's also, you can visit our website that will also have an email listed on there, or you can fill out an online form. So as we go through the highway here, first things first, like immediate programs. Like as I was saying, this is prevention and diversion, whether that's rental assistance, whether that's any sort of like financial assistance. These are basically programs that we can get people connected to right away. A lot of that work right now is like COVID wraparound services, you know, for people who've lost income due to COVID. You know, there are a couple rental assistance programs available right now, not very many, but you know, we are trying to get people connected to those, as well as an eviction mediation program, which is fairly new for the county, which you will learn about today as well. So we have that, you know, we have those conversations with people where we can just do some quick prevention and diversion, and you know, within like a week time frame, they'll be hearing from somebody to kind of get that assistance. But a second part of the work we do is also, like I said, screening for waitlist programs. This can vary from permanent supportive housing programs to, you know, like I said, family shelters, transitional housing. Unfortunately, yes, all these programs do have waitlist. And I know that can discourage a lot of people, but what we always try and tell people is that, you know, this is the first step in getting housed. Please put yourself on the wait list. You know, like there is a lot of work being done to get people housed sooner. Also, not sure if questions come up, someone feel free to cut me off. Like I said, I can't see the screen or the chat box, so let me know. But yeah, so immediate programs or waitlist programs, but you know, calling us is the best way to kind of get connected to those. That being said, we also are just coordinated housing access. Sometimes 211 does be, you know, they're giving out our phone number for people in other counties. Unfortunately, as much as we wish we could help people of different counties, we really are just Clackamas County residents, and you know the resources for Clackamas County residents. So who or how do I call? So this is our phone number, like I said, 503-655-8575. Feel free to share that with people. We also have an email, cha@clackamas.us. People, you know, you can really reach out to us in any way, you'll be added to a call log, and we work off of that call log. So this is where we get people. Like I said, we've got English speaking clients. We also have Spanish speaking clients. We have a way to, get a translator for other languages as well. So we do have that method of contact. Lily Johnson and I do the bilingual Spanish calls. So those we have a separate voicemail for that, and that gets checked pretty regularly. So a lot of times Spanish clients are hearing a lot sooner than English speaking clients. We also are doing a lot of coordinated housing access CHA assessment trainings, which some of you probably have already done or have been a part of. So in-person assessments can now be done at the following locations. One, the Clackamas County Social Services Office. Like I said, one of our staff members is always there Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, around there. The Father's Heart, Clackamas Service Center, Love One, Clackamas Community College. These are just a couple of the places where people can get assessments done in person. We'll obviously hopefully be seeing this list grow in the near future, but it is exciting that people can now go to any of these places to get assessments done. And then this is our website link. It's a little long, but we can share this information with you all after this meeting if you are interested. So what happens when I call? What information is collected? So like I said, the conversations can vary. A lot of the thing we ask is, what do you need in order to resolve your current housing crisis? A lot of the information we get from people is just pretty broad information. We're not the case managers. We're not the housing navigators. We're not the people that is going to be providing that service specifically. So a lot of it is just like personal demographic info. We do ask people, what do you think you would need to resolve your current housing crisis? This is a lot of the stuff that you see here of what people may think that they need, whether that's a shelter, whether that's low-cost housing, whether it's transportation, whether it's some sort of payment arrangement. So, this just kind of varies. So I'd say we get a very broad information. We kind of just want to get an idea of what the person's housing situation kind of looks like. We do ask for like an average gross income, which allows us to help know what programs maybe a person may or may not be eligible for. And then we try and get as much contact information for people as we can, because sometimes it can be hard to get a hold of people. But we don't ask for too much information. I'd say calls for us can range anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes. So, they are not too time consuming. Assessments don't really need to take that long, but sometimes they can, depending on a person's situation. So that is overall, I think, a good gist of the work we do. I will stop sharing now. Hopefully I did not exceed time, but feel free to ask any questions.
You're totally ahead of schedule, just to let you know. So yeah, if anyone has questions, please feel free to hop in.
I'll just add something too, or emphasize on something that Eric has said already, but coordinated housing access is how people get into housing programs in Clackamas County. So we really want you to know that, and we really want you to use that phone line, and just know that it's expanding, and that we have a big change coming. If you don't know what Built for Zero is, look into it. We are taking part in a national movement to end homelessness. So that way, when somebody becomes homeless, it is very brief and it's not reoccurring. So look into that. And also, if you start hearing the term case conferencing, that is a meeting that is happening. We pull a list of all the people who have an open CHA assessment, and that is what's called our by name list. And if you're working with somebody who's experiencing literal homelessness, we want them on that list, because we're gonna that person will come up in case conferencing, and then we will hopefully quickly get them matched to a program. And that is the way that you do that.
Eric, really quick, what was the time frame if someone does get on the list? What is a time frame that we can tell our clients? Is it, they obviously have to go through this path in order to get on the housing, but what
Mhm.
is like a time frame currently? Are you looking at 1 to 3 years, or is it less than that?
Yeah, so it's actually really hard to say. We actually don't give a time frame out because of the case conferencing, because of that Built for Zero work that is being done. This obviously varies by program. So we try and keep it as broad as we can when it comes to time frames, because we don't want to give that out. It can take months, it can take years. Obviously somebody that got assessed 4 years ago, they probably waited longer than maybe somebody that's getting assessed now because of the work that's being done. So I don't give out a time frame. We actually we can pull up the reports on what the wait list look like for certain programs, but because of the fact that those can change on a day-by-day basis. So it's just really hard to say it's going to be 3 months, it's going to be a year. So it's for sure at least a couple months. It always is at least a couple months. But time frame wise, I think it for us, it's better to not say, a specific time frame.
Eric, this is Mike Foley.
Thank you.
Is there any sort of idea of how many folks in the county are houseless right now? I know those numbers change and change radically and are probably always under what really is out there. But do you guys have any sense at all of the number of folks in the county that are homeless?
I think Lauren might have a question to
Yeah,
that.
actually, Helinda is here, and maybe Helinda, you could talk about the point in time count and that versus maybe the by name list and the work that we're doing on that.
Yes, and I was going to say, I'm actually the next speaker, so I don't know if Carlos wants to segue that way, but regarding the current numbers, we just completed our point in time count as of, I want to say 2 weeks ago. So right now PSU is working on counting those results for the county. Additionally, this was the first year that the count was done at the same time with the same method for all 3 counties in Portland Metro. So we're hoping with all that we can get a fairly accurate number of what it looks like or what unshelteredness looks like within our area. Historically, there's been surveys done in different methods, different timeframes. We do have CHA that is counting people who are unsheltered, but there may be movement. So current numbers, I don't want to throw out numbers just randomly. So for the moment, as of right now, we can't give you a accurate or close approximate or estimate. But I will anticipate having a definite number coming within the next couple of weeks, if not, or months, depending on when PSU finishes that count of the surveys.
Thank you.
Eric, I was wondering, you said there were in-person assessments. You gave the hours for Clackamas County Social Services Office. Are the other places that you mentioned, are those like at varying times, or do we just need to call and find out if they have specific times for the in-person assessments?
Yeah, there are set employees, that are trained. Unfortunately, as much as we wish that everyone in that certain office was trained, we're not quite there yet. So it really would come down to maybe a heads up, like, hey, giving this person a call. Do you have someone there who is trained in CHA? You can always reach out to any of us directly. Like I said, we always do have someone at the social services office. Because of the pandemic, we've just been doing phone assessments for the most part, and it's not until recently, that we actually started doing more of in-person assessments. So, it really kind of depends for sure.
Okay, and just one more question. I was just wondering if if they call you and leave a message and you get back to them and they get the call, but they aren't there or aren't available or miss it somehow, what is the process? Are they supposed to call you again? How does that work? Would you get back to them quickly after that? Just so I can kind of give some timeline so that they're not worried about whether they're going to miss your call.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I for sure, like reach out to a specific amount of people. If we schedule an appointment or we don't schedule an appointment, I'll still give them a call. I will always leave a voicemail, if not send a text message, kind of to follow up, like, hey, do you want to reschedule? Because a lot of times, people are going to miss those appointments. Somebody's not going to be able to work. It's not going to work for everybody. So yes, I always do, give somebody that space and time. I always actually, I track all my data when it comes to calling clients, and I actually give them an entire month to get a hold of me until I like fully move on from them. So, I know that different staff members do different things, but we will for sure leave voicemails. We will send text messages. We definitely do want to make sure people aren't missing out on getting into wait lists because of the fact that they missed one phone call.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was one more question in the chat. It was, is this specific to Clackamas County residents? Can Multnomah County residents tap into Clackamas County services?
Yeah, I'd say definitely for prevention and diversion, it could be a little bit difficult if it's a Multnomah County resident, seeking rental assistance. Counties have funds for their own residents of their own counties. So a lot of times like that, it's we probably wouldn't be able to pair somebody up with rental assistance if that's what they were looking for. But if it is a houseless individual that's currently in Multnomah and has some sort of tie or even just feels safer in Clackamas County, we can definitely screen them and put them on wait lists for housing programs in Clackamas County. So, we definitely won't say, oh, you're in Multnomah, we're not going to screen you. In fact, if they wanted to move to Clackamas or just even feel safer, we would definitely do that screening with them. Go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, I just want to mention that there is a big tri-county effort happening to work closer together and bring some visibility into it. So we may be able to see each other's systems and work more closely, but there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. But I just want everyone here to know that we know that that's important and we all need to work together. So we are working on that as well.
This is,
Go ahead, Mike.
all right, thank you, Mike Foley again. And you guys will get used to me asking questions because I don't know anything. And the question that keeps popping in my mind already today from listening to this discussion, I'm guessing that most of the folks who are houseless that are living in tents or whatever, how do they find out that you guys even exist? They're not going to probably see this program. They're not going to be aware of a lot of things that are going on around them. So is there an outreach that you guys do? Do you go to areas where homeless people are living and talk to them? Or, just answer that question. How did they find out that you guys even exist?
We actually have Helinda here, who it sounds like is going to speak to, and she's going to tell you all about outreach. And so there's a lot of outreach that's happening here, and it's much bigger than what we used to be. We used to really try to get out there, get to the Father's Heart, Clackamas Service Center, and try to give our number. But yes, from my own experience as somebody who was experiencing housing instability for a long time, I had no idea coordinated entry ever existed. I didn't even know what that was. So now things are different. And I know Helinda will talk more about that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pass it off to Holinda. Thank you so much, Eric and Lauren. There's another question in the chat, and we'll circle back to it at the Q&A portion of the agenda.
My turn, Carlos? My
Your
turn to jump
turn.
in?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. Well, hello, everyone. I was name dropped a couple times, so that was cool. So hello, I am Holinda Chernault. I am the program coordinator for Outreach and Safety Off the Street programs with Clackamas County's new Housing and Community Development Division. So the best way I sum that division up is the Metro Supportive Housing Funds. That's what this division works with, along with other housing programs. So I'm here to talk about the by name list, also known as BNL. I was going to say y'all need to get ready for the acronyms because we got CHA, we got BNL, we got BFZ. So we could definitely, I could put something in the chat that's a little cheat sheet on that. I'm also going to go ahead and put my contact information. You guys are all having excellent questions about the program and the system. I love seeing that curiosity. So I'm going to go ahead and put my information in the chat. I'm also going to put a link to, it's actually the same provider that Carlos put on the chat. It's Community Solutions, and they're talking about the Built for Zero movement, and they talk about the by name list. So I'm going to take a minute, less actually, to put that in the chat, and then I can talk more in detail on what the by name list is and how all these programs work together and what outreach looks like. And that also includes that focus to Hispanic and Latino populations or other minority groups. Okay. So the by name list, BNL, you heard it earlier with the CHOP presenters, which by the way, thank you very much, Lauren and Eric. I love your team so much. I get to work with them every Thursday morning with our case conferencing meeting, and they are an excellent group to work with.
Mira, salte. Salte.
Okay, so the by name list. So as it says it in the title, it is a list of all the individuals that are unsheltered in our county or service area. Like Eric mentioned, there is some flexibility there regarding services for people that maybe are in other parts of the metro area, but do feel safer or have some kind of support within the county. We'll go ahead and factor them into our by name list. So the by name list is fed by CHA. So once again, that importance to get CHA assessments completed, as it is what supplies the names to our by name list. So CHA is accessed, like Eric had mentioned, via calling the hotline. There's an online referral, and then there are a couple of places that conduct assessments. And this kind of part goes into what Mike had asked. How do people who are unsheltered, homeless in the streets, get connected to services? You're going to have to apologize. I mean, I'm going to apologize for the activity behind me. I live in a lively household. So yes, those assessments are done in 2 of the main day spaces that are within our county. So that's how we're able to target those that are unsheltered. We also have outreach teams that are out in the community that are able to complete these assessments, or at least provide information to those that are outside about getting connected to CHA. So on the by name list, the goal is to capture the information of everyone that is within our service area, that is outside, that is needing housing or some other supports. So once we have this list, we are able to do what's called case conferencing. This is a weekly meeting where we all as providers review the list one by one, each individual one by one, and we make sure that they are getting connected to a service or a program, or they're getting their needs met somehow, whether it's shelter, whether it's referring them to some additional programs that we might be working with. That's the goal. The goal is to get people from this list connected to housing. So the by name list is able to focus on prioritize certain groups. So this meeting here, or this organization has an emphasis on Hispanic or Latino populations. With this by name list, if we wanted to shift our focus and target the Latino or Hispanic populations, we could determine that and pull that information from our list and target or move our focus to address some of the inequalities that they face. So regarding outreach, Clackamas County now has outreach capacity. We do have various contractors with us now that are able to do two types of outreach that I like to refer to as site-based. So people can go to the Clackamas Service Center or the Father's Heart, get a CHA assessment completed so that they can pop up on our by name list, get additional services, get some of their needs met that way. Or we have what I call mobile or direct outreach, which is where outreach workers are going to these encampments, are connecting with individuals, are providing supports, are getting them assessed for outreach or for our CHA and other housing programs. So for the Latino Hispanic population, we have contracted with two culturally specific providers. One of them is called Up and Over, and the other one is a local agency that we're all familiar with or maybe familiar with called ERCO. And they are targeting culturally specific populations. And one of the things that I like in particular about these agencies, in particular Up and Over, is that they're conducting outreach, and one of the outreach workers always talks about he wants to be where the people are at. So he actually conducts outreach at what I call non-typical day spaces. So he's at the transit centers, he's in shopping areas, he's connecting with people out in the community. And that's the type of outreach that really is impactful in our area. It's meeting them where they're at. Additionally, something that I'm working on is really targeting the Hispanic and Latino community or other minority communities, as they tend to view homelessness differently. They tend to live in multi-generational homes, or they just have a different idea, or may not perceive the homelessness or housing instability they are in and equate that to the housing programs we have to offer. So something that I'm working on too is connecting with various providers in the area. I actually had a brief conversation with staff at the Canby Center, and they were talking to me about the population they see, the needs they see, and something that was brought up was they want different types of housing. They want home ownership. They want that multi-generational living and not just a standard shelter spot or a standard voucher for an apartment. So that I think is very crucial when it's regarding outreach populations like Hispanic or Latino. Lastly, I also want to talk about how this whole system works in general. So you're hearing a lot about the initial entry point for people to get into housing, which is CHA, which is the outreach, which is the by name list. We also have some additional sections in our system that help people get to this ultimate goal of housing. So after someone is identified in the community, added to our by name list, connected to services, they're sent to what's called matching housing navigation. And this is where staff are able to work on some additional barriers that people might have, get them connected to housing supports like the housing voucher, and get them into housing. And then the last component is supportive case management. And the goal there is to provide support services so that person can remain housed. So just kind of a reminder that this is a larger system. This is just one piece, but once we put it all together and we have all that community support and knowledge, we can get people stably housed. And Carlos put a little cute flow chart thing, and I was going to do the same thing to just kind of give you all the visuals. I think sometimes you hear all these things and it's like, call this number, go here, go do that. And this kind of helps people see the process, like outreach, connected to services, housed, stay housed. Does anyone have any questions at the moment? I know I just dropped a lot of information about our by name list, about our outreach strategies, about this being just one part of the housing system. So your questions are more than welcome. I see some hands up, and you're also more than welcome to call and email me if we're running over on time. Magda?
With the Canby School District. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Magda with the Canby School District. And I'm familiar with CHA. This is all really exciting news what you guys are sharing. So one of my questions, I know that there's been a lot of work to help in houselessness, but I know that there's a lot of barriers. A lot of times families are not really working, or they have a rental history or criminal history. So sometimes as much as we try to help them, or they say, yes, I'll be there, but then they don't have the papers that they need to fill out the application. So realistically, how can we continue supporting them to become house? Thank you.
That's a great question, and that's something that we actually see a lot, in particular with the populations that we're focused on. So the populations that we're prioritizing at the moment tend to be chronically homeless, have disabilities, have those types of barriers. So once someone has entered our CHA system, comes up on the by name list, and we are case conferencing them, that's something that we can work on addressing or connecting resources to. If they are then sent to what we call our matching housing navigation portion, that's where staff are actually trained or specialized in busting some of those barriers, whether it is, you know, property debt or some legal barrier. I know there's expungement clinics that are occurring regularly to address that. And additionally, we have staff that can work on reasonable accommodations to get some kind of approval for housing. But this is also an example of where you can bring someone up during our case conferencing periods or connect with Lauren or myself, and we could talk a little bit more about additional resources that your clients can access. Ernesto?
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I have a question, or maybe you can clarify for me. What's the difference between enroll or screen a participant in the CHA and getting into the by name list? So you separate them, or how this works?
Another awesome, excellent question. So once someone completes the CHA assessment, based on the question or based on their answers or what they're responding, CHA is able to determine, oh, this person's unsheltered, they're going to go to the by name list, versus, oh, this person is potentially seeking a different type of service, or maybe they're in a domestic violence situation, or another example is they're a veteran and they need some additional types of supports. CHA can then send them that way. It's kind of the highway that Eric had shown earlier. CHA is this excellent tool where it can get a snapshot of the person's situation and then send them to the appropriate route. So the key here for the by name list is that we're trying to capture everyone that is reporting being unsheltered in the community, on top of some additional prioritizations. If, you know, they're chronically homeless, if they're over the age of 70, we like to target people that are older in age, that have chronic homelessness, that are people of color, because we know that they are the ones that are having a harder time being unsheltered or facing some additional dangers being outside.
Okay, thank you so much, Helinda. If folks have additional questions, you can email Helinda, or if Helinda's able to stay for the Q&A at the end, awesome. We can use that time also, but just for time's sake, I want to move us to our next panelist, who is Ernesto from Northwest Family Services. Thank you so much for being here, Ernesto.
Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Ernesto. I'm from Northwest Family Services. I'm the program manager for the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program. And what I see here is we are being already 3 presenters that we are relied on CHA. So is the coordinating housing access. And then is kind of like the platform that everybody, all the community and other organizations, they get there or they get screened and then they refer the participants to different programs. So in Northwest Family Services, we have different programs that we can help any participants or any person that has house needs. So we have different programs. I'm especially from the program they call youth housing. So we basically are in the beginning, we are the CHA responder for the youth, the specifics. So when some youth getting into the CHA line or they request information about they're seeking or they're looking for any programs that they can help to get housing, automatically, if they call the number, they've been provided by Eric before. And then if they say, well, your youth, so that is the number that they're going to contact us. And then we receive that call. And then we screen that I see there was a difference between the screen and assessment is not different. So basically is we made some questions and then as we realize the needs of that participant, we refer to some programs. So internally in Northwest Family Services, we have programs regardless the age. So we have prevention assistance, we have short-term rental assistance, and then we have long-term assistance. So there's different programs and most of the organizations they may know. We have the youth housing funds. So it's a Clackamas Youth Housing Funds that we can help youth to either prevent or rapid rehousing. And that is prevent, we can help them financially for assistance and like to avoid eviction. And then the rapid rehousing is those youth that there are facing eviction or they going to move to one place to another or are in the streets and they find a job or they looking for a house, but they don't have this push to start. So the rapid rehousing, we can find resources for them to help them to get houses. We can pay for security deposit and then we can pay for rent. That's like a prevention assistance. And then we have the short-term rental assistance that we can help the participant up to different several months, depends they need. And then that included also like rapid rehousing, and then they do like the rapid rehousing and prevention. And then we have the long-term assistance. They're like, Section A vouchers, mainstream vouchers. We have preference vouchers for DV survivors and homeless. And then we have the FYA voucher, that's the foster youth to independent. So what I'm trying to say is all these programs, they're available. And then when we receive a participant and we receive a referral, what we do is we're trying to find the best option for the participant and then trying to enroll to those programs in order to get those benefits. And so also that we have is in my part, that is we have the hold on, let me just see here. We have the youth housing demonstration program. That's a specific my program. There we help youth from 24 to 14 to 25 years old. They're in Clackamas County, and they're about to be in a homeless situation in the next 14 days, or they're already in the homeless situation. They can call to our number, or they can call Cha, and Cha they will refer to us, and then we're going to screen them, and then we're going to provide service. I hear as well also a question about how long it's going to take to get back to those youth. Normally they take like between no longer than a week. We have a long list of youth that they record the service. So it's between like sometimes we do the second day, sometimes we do like in a week. And then what we do is we screen them, and then if they're eligible for our program, there is the youth housing demonstration program. Then we enroll them, and then what we can provide for them is diversion. We indeed don't provide like a housing indeed, but we do is we try to make sure those youth are and feel supported in this difficult situation. And then we can provide like food boxes, we can provide like bus tickets, we can provide peer support and case management. And then we just go hand by hand and help them to enroll in a programs or get certain programs. So I'm going to talking about as well navigation service that we have in Norway Family Services. Navigation Services is a program as well that everybody can just try to contact the program, and then we find out our navigation case managers. They're going to see what is their needs, and they can refer to different programs. This can be like supportive house services as well. So there's basically all the programs that we have right now. And then there's also Casa Esperanza. We have Casa Esperanza is another option for those Hispanic or BIPOC population, and they facing DV situation. We can provide with a like shelter, transitional shelter before getting into their housing. So I'm going to put the information of all the reps in the chat. So this my name is Jackie Vargas is from navigation, and Corey is for support services. And then if you have any question, just feel free to contact us, and then refer anyone. We have also one of the we have like a flyer, so I just put it in the chat as well. That flyers can be printed, and then it can be delivered to all youth that they're facing the chances to go in the street. So I don't know. You have any questions?
I have a question if we have time.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about a specific family that I'm working with at the moment. They're at the moment not homeless, but it's a single mom with 4 sons between the ages of 14 and 24.
Mm-hmm.
The mom is on hospice and at home care. I have no idea how long she has, and we're working with someone who's helping with the hospice care. My first thought is, if the lease is only on the mom's name, these kids are going to lose their mom and their home at the same place. So it's kind of working on, let's help them make sure that they're on the lease, so this doesn't happen all at once. One of them is working, the other one is taking care of mom, helping, and then the other 2 are going to school. One is a 9th grader, the other one is a 12th grader.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, would this be a family that this program, the youth housing assistance with rent assistance, could help?
Well, youth housing is for independent youth. If the mom is in the household, maybe we need to find another program for the mother. And then unless
Mom will be passing away soon, unfortunately.
okay, so if they're when they're being in the risk of being in the streets, or they have trouble for eviction, we can find another programs. Can be like the CYH, the Clackamas Youth Housing Program, that we can have them with a like a rent assistance. This can be, you know, like just to avoid eviction. But then we have to, normally all the cases that like you mentioned right now is that they case by case, because the case managers, what we need to do is to find out how it's kind of like a puzzle. And then sometimes in one like meeting or something, it's kind of like not impossible, but we can give you the big perspective. But we have to find, you know, the age of the kids, where they live, what's the situation of the mom, if we can get some like a letter from the doctor, and then what is the ages of the youth, who is the oldest one, and who is the youngest one, and what's the age, if they can be the household, and then we can just, so there's a lot of situations, but definitely you can send me the information, and then we can reach out them and then see if we can just help them. I mean, nobody lost anything to ask, and then we can reach out them and see what chances we have to help this family.
Thank you.
So any other questions?
Ernesto, there was a question on the chat, so I'm not sure if you can see it, or
No.
do you want us to read it?
Oh, yes, please.
It says, do we want to make sure the older youth, which is 18 and plus, are on the lease?
Yes, we're normally in the lease. There's no lease for I think what I learned and what I understand is no lease of people under 18. So if the person is 18 and over and is in the lease, we can, unless there's another thing that we have some cases. There are cases that because they were youth and they're under 18, they have a cosigner. That is, can be the mom or a friend, but we have to prove that that person is not living with them. And then we can just help the youth to get any assistance. So we need to make sure that the youth is a household, or if it's a household. Other thing, we cannot help like with certain programs for youth if the household is one over 25. So this program needs to be youth in order to ask help, and in one of the in the youth housing program. But we have another programs, as I say, prevention, short-term rent assistance. We have the program with Corey. A lot of people know Corey already, but is this program they call supportive houses management, or supportive housing services in Norwest Family Services, and they support those people that have a low income, and then or they have disabilities, or they're experiencing difficulties to keep the housing. So that's a great program that we can help people with this program. So just feel free to contact. I put in the chat Corey, Jackie, or myself. I'm more special with youth. That's my department, but any all departments of relating to housing, we can help.
Thank you so much, Ernesto. Thank you for sharing all that valuable information. Yeah, we definitely want to get more info on that specific youth situation to figure out how we can best support. So please reach out to the providers who've posted their info in the chat. I'm going to pass it off to our next presenter, Edith from RentWell. Edith, thank you for being here.
Hi, so I have unstable connection, so I'm going to keep my camera off, but I do have my picture up so you all can actually see a face for those that don't know me. So thank you, Carlos, for inviting me. I am Edith, and I work for Clackamas County Social Services Housing Program. I specifically am the RentWell and the Rapid Rehousing Case Manager. So RentWell is pretty well known, and it's definitely, I feel that it's been emphasized a lot more over these last few years. But for those of you that don't know RentWell is a 6-week 10 education class. We here in Clackamas County offer the classes are open to the public. Some of the criteria, we do give priority to Clackamas County residents or anybody that has ties to Clackamas County, but it's definitely, we are open to the other surrounding counties in the area. So RentWell is a really huge kind of curriculum well known throughout Oregon, Washington State, and there are many, many agencies in the area that provides the RentWell classes. Each agency pretty much gets to decide if they're opening up to the public or they're specifically opening up to the participants that they're working with directly, or they can make it private, again, just for those who they're working with closely. One of the good things with Clackamas County is we do open it up to the public. And so within us, we are offering the classes 2 ways. One is via Zoom, where we teach it for 6 weeks, twice a week, or we do in person, where we teach it on site. Right now, we're teaching it in Oregon City, and we teach those classes once a week for 6 weeks. So the main reason why folks come through the RentWell program is we help folks educate, we help folks who have any type of screening barriers. For example, if they have evictions, bad credit, no credit, criminal history, gaps in rental history, negative landlord references. Our biggest component is helping folks understand their rights and responsibilities. Also, helping them create a housing portfolio so they can present that to a landlord. And that housing portfolio is pretty much a folio of everything that they're going to need when they go and apply for a unit. So it can have a sample rental application pre-filled out with their information. We help them create a cover letter, a letter of explanation, or even a reasonable accommodation to help them overcome some of those barriers. We also make sure that they have ID documentation. So especially with the population that we work with, many end up losing their ID, birth certificates, social security, they can't even access their income or public benefits. So we help them as a case manager through those processes to help gather all that documentation. And we also make sure that we do a screening back. They'll get a copy of their report so they can see what potential landlord is going to see. And I think I am frozen. Can you all hear me?
You're cutting out a little bit, but I think we can still get the gist of what you're saying for the most part.
Oh, okay, thank you. So yes, so we do so they'll get a copy of their background report. And I think that is very valuable to see what are those specific barriers that are stopping them from getting into housing. And we will try to provide tools, try to help them address those barriers. And if we can remove those barriers, we'll try to do that as well. We do get some funding to help with those costs. because our funding is a state funding, we do have some specific eligibility requirements for folks to access the RentWell program here through Clackamas County. The two main one is that they have to have their income cannot be more than 80% of area median income. So that's a pretty high threshold. So a lot, if not all of our participants are eligible and they meet that income criteria. And then the second part is they either have to be either literally homeless, at risk of being homeless, or unstably housed. So in order to access that. Another thing that they get is, as a graduate, they will get a graduation certificate, and they are covered by the Landlord Incentive Fund. So this is actually an incentive to a potential landlord that is willing to rent to a RentWell graduate. And this incentive, what it does, it provides a landlord that kind of guarantee that if something were to happen within their first year of tenancy at their unit, and they had to move out for whatever reason, and they still owe money above and beyond the security deposit that was paid, then the landlord can then tap into this incentive fund and help cover the remaining balance up to $5,000. And so that way the tenant can leave without owing any money, and the landlord has that as incentive to know that, okay, I have that, and I can pretty much request any kind of money owed to me if the tenant does leave me with money owed to that property. So another thing with this RentWell curriculum is we are teaching them in English right now. We do teach them in Spanish. I am bilingual, so I do teach this curriculum in Spanish once the new curriculum comes out. So the curriculum is actually owned by Transition Projects, TPI, in Multnomah County, and they are in the process of translating the Spanish curriculum. I'm working with them to help with that curriculum, because the current curriculum, how it's set up, it's set up to where the barriers are specifically for folks that we work with on a daily basis, with criminal history, evictions, credit gaps, rental history, all that stuff. But when we work culturally specific with the Latinx community, I've noticed that there are different types of barriers that are not always covered in the curriculum. So I want to make sure that if they're taking this course, if they're taking their time to take this course, that they're actually getting the information that's going to meet what they're needing, not in general. So it's not like a one size fits all kind of a thing. And we definitely making sure that that is being known, because it is something that has to happen. I've been teaching this class for 16 years. Yes, I know that I look very young, but I am getting really old. But I really believe in this curriculum. I enjoy it very much, especially if somebody is not really tied to any housing supportive services. Just by taking the class can help them prepare themselves to be house ready, especially if they are working with somebody, to kind of help them have that extra wraparound services to help them get those barriers addressed in the beginning, so they know what's going to come at them when they fill out that application and what to expect. Let's see here. Another thing that I also want to point out is that RentWell also has an online e-course. So again, this is through TPI. So if the schedule doesn't work out for somebody, the times and the dates that we teach the classes, anybody can just directly go to the e-course. And so I have it here. They can just visit the rentwell.org website, click on participant or tenant, and they can sign up for an e-course online. So this curriculum is available through the TPI website, the rentwell.org website. It is self-paced. They can do the sections and do the work on their own time. They do have a time limit of getting it done in 90 days. So again, it's really open, and it's for folks that, you know, really want to take this class and really want to have that incentive and have that housing portfolio, but doesn't have the time to specifically take a specific class in person or through the Zoom. Both Kayla and I co-teach the class together. And as I mentioned before, we do get funding, so we can help with some deposit. We can help with paying IDs, birth certificates, and pretty much what they are needing to help them become stably housed or to get them into housing. We will try to provide as much support that we can. So if folks do want to sign up for the class, they can either call the RentWell hotline directly, which is the phone number right here that I posted on the chat. If you have any specific questions, or if they have questions, they can email us directly at rentwell@clackamas.us. Both Kayla and I share this email. So either one of us can contact you or the participant that you referred for next available classes. We do have a class coming up on March. Is going to start on March 1st. It is going to be a Zoom class. So it's going to be every Wednesday and Friday for the next 7 weeks, because we're actually taking a day off in one of those weeks. So if anybody is interested, have them call the hotline. We'll give them a call right away. Or you can send us an email with their information and we can give them a call. And we can just pretty much talk to them and see what we can do to get them registered.
Okay, thank you, Edith. I think it's such an awesome and valuable resource. Does anyone have any questions for Edith at this time? No questions?
One question. So this is Magda again. So going back, how often has because this is really, really good information, and I have heard a little bit about RentWell, but I didn't know that it was able to do all of this. So I'm really glad that I'm learning so much more about RentWell. So after a family takes this class and they had the criminal record or the bad rental history, how, like, what percentage would you say is able to rent an apartment afterwards? Like 100% of them?
So it's never guaranteed. We never want to guarantee somebody to get into housing, but I mean, I don't really like to shine the light on myself, but I've definitely worked with folks that has had very extensive criminal history. And one of the main things that we do is we try to see if any of that criminal history was tied to any protected class. And that's one of the things that we talk about in RentWell. If we could try to try to provide a reasonable accommodation. And so there are protected classes within federally and state where a landlord has to take into consideration the documentation that a potential tenant provides, as well as because they are protected under a specific protection. And mainly the two main protected classes that we come across a lot that provides a reasonable accommodation is anybody with a disability, or if they have actively or a survivor of domestic violence. And criminal history, most of the charges that folks come through is because of any types of drug charges, manufacturing, distribution. And if somebody was actively using and now they are clean and sober, within the federal protection, somebody that is no longer using, it is considered a disability under the Federal Fair Housing Act. So we always try to work with folks to see how we could make that into a reasonable accommodation, or at least try to help them explain in a letter how to present yourself to a landlord, because the landlord's going to judge somebody right away based on what they see in paper right in front of them. And so we try to talk about, from a landlord's point of view, this is how you present yourself. This is when you bring up your barriers. This is are some of the resources that you can look into to try to get those either expunged or try to make yourself more presentable to a potential landlord to work with them. And as far as people getting into housing, yeah, so it's hard to say. I know that a few years ago before the pandemic, we used to teach the classes a lot more constantly. So easily we used to have anywhere between 200 and 250 participants that I would work with every fiscal year. And out of all those participants, we used to get about 60, 65, I think about no more than, I think around 70% of folks end up finding housing a few months after completing the course.
Thank you.
So I'll get to you in the second, Lauren. I know that there was one, okay. There was a question in the chat, the website of the online e-course. Yes, it is free. Thanks, Chris. Lauren.
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to mention here, I was recently talking to Abby Ahern, who taught RentWell for a very long time, and she had mentioned that there was like a panel or a study where formerly homeless people were housed. And when the question was asked, like, what was the most helpful thing to help you get housed, the answer was very strongly RentWell. And so RentWell is very effective, and we on the Chaw line, we tell everybody about it. So I encourage you all to use it and do the same.
Thank you, Lauren.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Daisy, are you okay if Melissa goes ahead of you? I know she is short on time. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to pass it off to Melissa from Clackamas County. Thanks for being here, Melissa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Carlos. Ernesto, I think you had your hand up, though, with a question possibly, and Lauren did too.
Yes, I have a quick question for RentWell.
Sure.
I see, as Lauren says, it actually is one of the tools that we have for barriers for people that get housing. But my question is how we can reach to not training to train, but just in our organizations, make all the case workers know about the program in a quick kind of like maybe training or presentation, who I can direct to or who can help me with that, because I want all my staff to know about that.
Yeah, we can definitely do outreach and talk more, present more about the RentWell specifically to different agencies. You can just email the RentWell email, and either myself or mainly Kayla, who is the RentWell coordinator, will reach out to you and we can get something set up.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lauren, was your question already answered?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Pass it to you, Melissa.
All right, thanks. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so my name is Melissa Miller, and I am the coordinator of Clackamas County's Eviction Prevention Mediation Program. And I created a little PowerPoint to show you. It's only 7 slides long. It's very quick, and then I'll open it up for questions. So I'm going to, this is my first time trying to do a PowerPoint and share my screen. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Great. Awesome. I'm just going to leave this side panel up. Otherwise, I think you will go away. Okay, so as of February 1st, our program area just moved under H3S, just so you're aware. We've been around for decades and we were sitting in our own department, but we're now a program under H3S. We're called Resolution Services. And we received a grant to pilot a program that aims to prove that mediation is a good tool for preventing eviction. We have done eviction preventions in the past. And so we're hoping to use this data to encourage legislatures to continue to fund this type of mediation. Our grant funds go through June 30th of this year, but we are hoping that the legislature will continue as we are having some successes in preventing evictions through mediation. So any Clackamas County resident qualifies who has a housing concern. It can be initiated by the landlord or the property owner, or by their tenant, or initiated by a tenant if they have a concern about the property owner or housing stability. I can only see a few people and I can't really see the chat. So let me know if somebody throws their hand up or a question up, Carlos. I can see you, Carlos. So thank you.
I'll let you know.
Okay, awesome. So mediation is appropriate for any type of conflict that impacts the relationship between a housing provider and a tenant or anyone else who's involved. So some examples of why someone might want to mediate is loss or reduction of wages or income, conflict with other tenants, noise concerns, property concerns, or late payments. In fact, the earliest that we can get in and support parties, the better. So if you have any clients you think might benefit from our programs, you can just call me directly or email me, and I'll put my contact information at the end of this. And Carlos, if you want to send this out too afterwards, you're welcome to. I can forward it to you.
I will. Thank you.
Awesome. So because the grant is funding this pilot program, it is free for all participants. It can be utilized pre or post eviction filing. Pre-filing is before a court date. Post-filing is after a court date, and they both apply. We can be of service and try to support both parties in all these situations. Mediators are also impartial. We are not for the tenant or for the landlord. We are impartial. We honor the process of mediation. And we have 12 professionally trained mediators right now, mediating 7 days a week, including evenings and weekends to help people. And they are professionally trained and we are paying them. So these are not volunteers. And they're excellent mediators, and they've been a great help to tenants and landlords who have been calling us. As I mentioned, the grant runs through June 30th. Little statistic is that 4 out of 5 conflicts that have gone to mediation have prevented eviction in Clackamas County. And I got this statistic from my first 4 weeks of work, which was the month of January. So I'm very new in my position of being a coordinator, and I'm still learning along with you all about the process of eviction. Something else I want to mention, which is very important, is that our program area resolution services is coordinating with CHA, Coordinated Housing Association, and rent assistance. And so we are working as a web of support to try to prevent eviction. So there are ways in which if a client comes directly to resolution services and they wonder about their rent assistance application, I can turn to my colleague in rent assistance and say, hey, do you have this client in your system? Can you give me an update about their case? And that's how we're working together. So generally, what does it look like? We have an online intake. So you can just go to the Clackamas County website right here. We have a page, Eviction Prevention Mediation. Didn't mean to press that button. And it's this intake form right here. Now, Clackamas County's website is really accessible as far as languages goes. You can change the website into any of these languages. However, our intake form right now is only English. I am working on putting it into Spanish and the other 4 major languages, but that's in process right now. So if your client needs any support filling out the intake form, they can call me directly at this message line and I can call them. We use a phone interpreter program that we pay for through Clackamas County that provides interpretation in over 250 languages. So we really want everyone to know that they are welcome to call. We will find a way to mediate for you. I already mentioned that our mediators are trained professionals. Mediators are assigned within 1 to 2 business days of me receiving the intake from the website, comes right to my computer. I reach out to a mediator, I assign them. They call party 1, that's typically the tenant or the landlord, whoever reached out to us first, gather their story, their needs and their values. And then party 1, hello, where did you go? And then party 1 gives us the contact information for their other party that they're in conflict with. The mediator calls them. And then we can set up a mediation. Now, traditional mediation is when the parties come together in one room. We are doing Zoom room mediations in this modern day of no contact communication. And we are also doing phone shuttle mediation back and forth. So there's no need for people to show up for a meeting if they don't want to. We can go back and forth on the phone and get mediated agreements that way as well. We're trying to make this as accessible as possible. And judges may dismiss eviction cases when presented with a mediated agreement. So again, how to apply, just go to that website, here's the link, or call the phone number. And this is just a message phone, but I check them every day and I can call you back or call the client back. And this is my email and my cell for further information. And I've enjoyed it when people have reached out to me to just chat about a case because they're not sure if the case is appropriate or not. So I welcome those calls as well. Yay. Oh, thank you for putting the link in the chat.
No problem. Linda, are you willing to kind of share what you put in the chat? Wow.
Sure. And I will say that the slide you had that pretty much walks through the process, that's exactly what happened. And I think that really helps because it is sometimes a lot of these things are just like unknown, go here, call there, go everywhere. And like, that's exactly what we did online. We called, it was set up. They checked in with the property, they checked in with the tenant, the Zoom was scheduled. It was, you know, both sides were heard, there was an outcome, and this tenant had an ongoing issue with property management. Property management attempted to address it the best they could. Tenant wasn't happy, property wasn't happy, property was trying to evict them. It was pretty intense. And then resolution services came in, and like within the week they had it scheduled, and this person got to remain in housing. And I was just there kind of observing it all happen, being supportive for the tenant. And I was very happy with this service. So I definitely encourage case managers or anyone that has someone in housing and they're having those issues to reach out to this service.
Thank you, Belinda. Ernesto?
Well, I kind of like, you know, apple to apple thing. So if one of my or myself, we have a participant that struggled with eviction, and we can, so the way that we do is we can refer the participant to this program, and then they will contact the landlord maybe, and then kind of mediate, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just want to clarify.
Yes.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Daisy?
Melissa, is this service only available in the Clackamas County?
Yes, I made one exception one time, but I can't do that again. You have to be a Clackamas County resident.
Okay, what if someone lives out of Clackamas County, but they want to move into Clackamas County and they are having eviction problems? Would that not be a good resource?
You're trying to find a loophole here, which I really like that, and I like you a lot. So just contact me and
Okay,
we'll see, because I probably have to just check with my grantor and see what he says.
perfect. Thank you.
We honestly, we have capacity. We have 12 mediators and they're only averaging about 4 cases each. We have capacity, so send them my way. We'll do what we can.
There was a question in the chat. How often does party 2 not agree to mediation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have any ready statistics. I will express that large property management companies, particularly those that are in a different state, if they have enough money and they don't care so much about the vacancies and the cost of going to court, we're finding that they would just rather go through the process of eviction to get the person out than to mediate. Sometimes large property management companies have a local property manager on site and they say, I would love to mediate, let me check with corporate. Corporate comes back and either says no or yes. But I would say it's been a pretty hard sell to the larger property management companies, some of whom do not even have their offices in Oregon. But smaller property companies, local owners of homes and landlords, they've been much more amiable. They want to keep people housed overwhelmingly. So, yeah. We had, to give you some statistics that I do know, we had 87 cases in January. 53 of them were new that I opened in January. 5 of them went to mediation and 4 of those prevented eviction through mediation. Yes. And then a handful that I don't have the numbers for didn't go to mediation, but with support from case management and CHA and rent assistance, we were just able to really quickly pull together enough support. A tool that rent assistance provides for the right situations is a letter of intent to pay, which can often tell the landlord money's coming. It just may take a little while. Please wait. And a lot of landlords with that letter of intent to pay are stopping the process of eviction. So yeah, great teamwork. Yeah. Awesome. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for having me. Feel free to reach out to collaborate. There's so many of you on this call that I haven't met yet. So please email me and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for joining us, Melissa.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Carlos. Have a good day.
Have a great day.
Okay.
All right. Our last but not least presenter is Daisy from Dev Northwest. Daisy, feel free to take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daisy Cuevas, and I am an asset building specialist for Dev Northwest. Maybe some of you remember us, and before 2019, we were Nedco, but we are currently now Dev Northwest. And some of our program that we have currently is I'm really excited to share that we are going to be building community land trust homes here in the Milwaukee area. And these are going to be affordable homes where we basically, the land is going to be in a trust. So the land, it won't be sold with the homes. It's just the structure of the homes. And the homes, the prices can vary from county to county, but we're estimating that our homes in the Milwaukee area could be anywhere from between $225,000 to $250,000. These are going to also be brand new built homes. They're going to be 3-bedroom homes, and I do have a little small picture kind of how many homes with a little bit of information. So I'm going to share my screen here if I can. I think I need permission to share my screen, so it's okay. But the plan is that we will be building 10 homes they should be starting to be built this year in January of 2023. They should be finished being built in March of 2024. And then the last home is estimated to be sold. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me see here. Still don't see the option to share. Okay, thank you. Is everyone able to see my screen?
We were, and then it went away.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, wonderful. So this is just a little quick sketch of the homes that are going to be built. And in the area, these will be built in the Milwaukee neighborhood area. And like I mentioned, they're going to be, the last home should be sold in about June of 2024. We also do offer a few other additional resources as well. We do also have our IDA program, and our IDA program, which is an individual development account, and it's a matching program. For every dollar that is saved, it's matched with 5. And with the IDA program, it will also, you could use it and apply it for home purchase. It would be applied either to down payment or closing cost as well. And also with the IDA, we do also offer the option as a rental move-in as well. And we also do offer different, a lot of different classes, not just necessarily with homes. We do offer a home buying foundations class that literally goes over the entire home buying process. For those people, you know, the folks in our community that are interested in learning a little bit more on the process and what it kind of looks like. We do bring volunteers from our community. We usually have like a real estate agent. We have a lender, a home inspector, and everybody just talks a little bit about their process. It's more like the general process. But we can always also offer counseling for anyone that is looking for counseling for any of their finances. This could be just for any particular goal, financial goal that they have. It could be also to buy a home, buy a car. And I am going to also put my information in the chat. And we do have a home buying class that is going to be March 11th. It's a Saturday class, and it's from 9 to 5 as well. And we are also starting to do some of our financial foundations class in person for our community. I will actually be teaching them. We have a few, I can send out the flyers to Carlos so that he could share them with everyone. But they're going to be mainly held in the Clackamas Housing Authority in their resource project room that they have as well. I'm reading in the chat room, are there income limits to the IDA? There is income limits, and the income limits kind of come to part when you actually are going to start to enroll to the program. We do also, unfortunately, have a waiting list to start our IDA program as well. And that waiting period right now is between 1.5 to 2 years, just depending on how on how we receive our funding every year from the state. And we just work down that wait list. Ernesto, if someone has ID before business, are they eligible for a home? Could you?
Sorry, IDA, like this.
Oh.
Yeah, there's people, they have like IDA and then they do like a business and then they, I don't know, they are completed and then they can have people, they have IDA before they can have an IDA for home.
So my understanding is that a person can have 2 IDAs in their lifetime. And with us, they can only be enrolled in 1 at a time. So with us, you can start one, for example, for a vehicle. And then once you finish that one and it's been 6 months that you've completed the program, then you can enroll and start the process to do another IDA as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any additional questions?
I have a question.
Mhm.
But the homes that are being sold. So it's the home that's being sold, not the land.
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's why the prices are going to be a lot lower than they are in our area right now.
Okay. And then in the future, do they need to keep the home for, let's say, 5 years and then they can sell it in the future? Or is there any guidelines, or can they be rented? I'm thinking.
So my understanding is that the homes the lease on the property is actually also for 99 years and the rent is $99. And basically the rent is more like an HOA fee that basically maintains the area, the community of where all the homes are going to be. So going into your question, for that, what was the other part of the question, Magda?
Sorry. So so then if they buy it,
Mhm.
can they sell it in the future? So then is it going to be more of a lease because they're not buying the land?
So it is, you're able to sell it and still get your portion of gains from owning that home. But we do have I believe it is, once you sell it, it has to be in a particular price range, because part of this program too is that for when the homes sell or they resell, that there is continuing affordable homes for the community. And I
like
also,
that.
yeah, and also it's really nice that I really like the idea and the concept, kind of going over what I believe it was somebody mentioned that certain families like to live in bigger homes and have more space. You can also basically, with the lease of the property, you can pass down the home to a family member. So like if it's parents that have kids that are older and they want to just pass down the mortgage or the home to their child, that's also a possibility.
Okay. And then being 99, so they will have the lease for 99 years, so then that they can eventually, if they want, they can even pass it to their grandchildren. But if they want to sell it, it would still be an affordable price to help other families become homeowners as well.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. And then but there's also going to be an option to rent some of them.
Not an option yet. We
Okay.
do have in Def Northwest properties that we do rent, and they are affordable rent, sorry, but we haven't had a property yet here in Clackamas for renting. We do have units that are available for, or not available for rent, but they're, if people are interested to rent in the Lane County, Lynn Benton, and also Marion County. And I also, oh, go ahead, Magda.
Oh no, I'm excited. This is good news to me too. Thank you.
Of course. I also wanted to share another great news that is from another community that's close by. So Marion County currently does have down payment assistance for families. It is, the household can receive up to $25,000 in assistance. So currently there is assistance. I thought it would still be nice to share because we're still pretty close to Marion County as well. If anybody knows clients that would be interested.
Could you share that information with us?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and send, I'll send the flyers out to Carlos so that they can send, or if you would like to reach me directly, I can also email them to you or anyone that would like them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There are a couple of questions in the chat. If an adult child lives in a household, do you have to count everyone's income?
For the IDA?
Christina?
Yes. Yeah.
So for the IDA, my understanding is it is, but it's a little bit different if it's a youth IDA, because we also do have youth programs, including our classes or educational classes. If the youth, for example, is a little bit older and they are separate or they're renting a room, then it would apply a little bit different.
And then
what's the age range for your youth? Sorry, Carlos.
You're fine. 16 to 21.
There's another question. Is there any portion that the owner who sells has to pay back, example, down payment?
For the CTL, for the community land trust homes, I would say not particularly in this. For the Marion County down payment assistance, yes. For that one you would. Because for our homes, you would still have to get qualified for the loan just for the structure of the building. So sometimes if it happens that the counties for the CTL's homes do have down payment assistance, and sometimes we can also have that to these homes, but not always that's the case. But with the Marion County, it does say in here that if the property is sold between 1 to 5 years, it's 100% repayable for the down payment assistance.
Awesome. Are there any other questions for Daisy?
Yeah, I have one. This is Mike.
Hi,
And
Mike.
you were talking about your funding in the legislature. So what portion of your funding comes from the legislature?
That's a great question, Mike. I am going to have to ask that. Can I bring that back to you next time when we come to class? I mean, not to class, but to the meeting.
Of course. And I'm just, with the legislature in session now, many of the legislatures are out doing town halls, including my state senator, who's having one tomorrow at the library in Oregon City. And, I would like to be sure that he understands this program and will be one to help support you guys financially. So I will talk to him tomorrow and tell him what little I know. And knowing him, he was in the House for many years and ran for the Senate and won this time. And he represents Oregon City and out to Canby and this whole area down in Milwaukee. So, and he will be very supportive of the program. I just want to be sure he's aware of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. That would be wonderful. My information is on there if you would like to give it to him or if you wanted to reach out to me.
I
really
will.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, this is another amazing resource. Thank you so much. Let's see. I just wanted to share also that Daisy has volunteered to share a little bit more at the next Hint Hangout, which is, let's see, March 15th from 4 to 5. And I believe Ant Farm will also be there, so that'll be great. We're looking forward to it. Please join us. And yeah, I'm going to pass it back to Erica, and then we will have a little more time for Q&A and announcements.
Well, I just want to thank all the presenters we had today. That was great information. And thank you, for sharing all the great stuff that's taking place in Clackamas County. And if anyone has any questions, definitely reach out to myself or Carlos and we can pass on any more information. I do want to share an event that's going to be taking place that Hint will be hosting. We are going to be doing a Hint networking event May 17th at the DSB building from 2:30 to 4:30. And you'll probably be seeing, Carlos will probably be sending out a flyer here within the next couple of months with a sign-up sheet so that you can all, I know we've been able to see each other just through Zoom, but you are going to have the opportunity to meet people in person, which is going to be great. We'll have some refreshments there, and it is going to be a great time just to network. We'll probably be sending out a flyer, maybe end of March, beginning of April, you think, Carlos? And we are excited about it. We will be sending out more information. And I'm gonna actually now pass it back to Carlos with he had another announcement that he wanted to share about Hint.
Yes, thank you, Erica. So Hint is looking for steering committee members. So if being part of this group today is something that you found interesting and you would be interested in helping advocate for and help educate the Latinx community and community providers in the area about relevant resources, this is a great opportunity. You don't have to be Latino, Latina, Latinx to participate in the steering committee. It's not a requirement. We welcome everyone. Yeah, and you may have seen this flyer. I'll send it out again, but it shares a little bit more about what Hint's purpose is, the background, and what it looks like to be a steering committee member, which is basically attending monthly meetings and helping organize events like this. And it's really fun. And yeah, it's only a couple hours per month. So I would definitely encourage folks to reach out to Erica or I, and I just put our emails in the chat. So yeah, for the last 10 minutes, I want to let other folks ask questions. If anyone has any announcements for your agency, any events coming up that you would like to share, this is an excellent time to do so. Also, if you have any feedback for us about today's event or any events that you would like to see in the future, definitely reach out to Erica or I.
Carlos, I will remind people of what I just said too. Any of those of you who live in Senator Meek's district, he's having a meeting at the Oregon City Library tomorrow at Town Hall. It starts at 5:30. I would encourage you to come if you can. And Mark's always been very open, and anything that you want to bring up dealing with the things we heard today or other subjects, I'd love to see a whole bunch of us show up for that tomorrow at 5:30 at Oregon City Library. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Tanya, go.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I wasn't able to get here until a little bit late, so I probably missed this information. But I was wanting to get information about rental assistance, and I heard a couple of people mention it here towards the end. But I was just wondering, where should I go to get information about rental assistance for families?
I think our CHA staff stepped out. But something that we spoke a lot about was the county's coordinated housing access system and about using that as a central point to get connected to some of the different programs and resources. Rental assistance historically, and I'm sure you all know this, it has been very tricky to find. And not only that, it's always set with a certain amount of criteria, but regarding that rental assistance, if it's someone that is losing housing, if something's not paid or what we call imminently at risk, definitely call CHA, and you can even talk to me directly and we can brainstorm some options or get a little bit more background if it's a specific case. And then I'll put my info in the chat again. I'm Helinda. I oversee outreach and safety off the streets for county programs.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Dan.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm Jen Ortiz. I am the program coordinator for the Family Caregiver Support Program, and my announcement doesn't have to do anything with housing. but I'm like really excited to let everybody know that my program is again open for referrals. We've been closed for quite a while. We serve older adults living in Clackamas that they're providing caregiving for a loved person. So we can support them with case management and also have money grants. We are mostly focusing on getting referrals from community partners, and we are focusing on underserved communities right now. So if you guys want more information, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to send you brochures or chat with you if you have any referrals that you think might be appropriate for my program. And I'll type my email on the chat.
Yay, thank you, Jen. I forgot to share this about myself, but I recently started as the youth housing program coordinator with the housing services team for Clackamas County. And one of the things I'm working on is restarting the youth housing strategic planning group. Thanks, Chelsea. And so if that group is something that you would be interested in being part of, please feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, we're hoping to get started sometime in March. So let me know, and let's end youth homelessness. And thank you, Jen. Also, if anyone has any announcements that are not having to do with housing, that's totally okay too. This is an open forum. Okay, last call. Any announcements? All right, well, I'm just gonna say, well, thank you one more time, everyone, for being here. Thank you to those who were able to stay the whole 2 hours. I know it's a lot. And thank you so much to our panelists for making this happen. I will send the presentations. I've also been taking some notes that I can send out. And yeah, we hope to see you at future Hint events. Thank you so much.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thanks
Thank
a
you,
lot.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Great 2 hours, Carlos. Great 2 hours.
It was Mike. Carlos has left.
Oh, has he already? Quick
Yeah.
exit. Well,
He
good
was
for
outta here.
all of you. It was great. It really was.
It was. We'll talk more next week.
Yeah.
Okay. See you then, Mike.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.